Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Beatings in Space, a SD Gundam G Generation Genesis Let's Play. My name is Umbaglo, and with me today is...
Mechalomaniac. Hello, Internet. We were totally not just talking about random stuff for the last hour before recording this.
I think a little bit more than that at this point, but yes.
Yeah.
Last time we did the first stage for Cross Dimension 0079. Today we're going to do the second stage. And the final stage.
Very, very short story.
It is actually a very short story. Like it's
2 days.
Pretty much 2 days worth of actual time. I'm not sure what more I need to say at this point. Like, yeah, last time the Wolfguard team kind of attacked the base. The Pixie revealed itself, and it's like basically a melee-focused NT1. It's kind of neat.
Another Gundam Amuro didn't get.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because, back when the original Gundam was made, the concept of mid-season upgrades hadn't quite proliferated, I think.
Yeah, kinda.
Let me think.
I don't know.
I mean, I can't speak for every superhero anime of the 70s, but it seems back then more like, Maz Z got the Scrander and stuff like that, rather than totally replacing the robot.
Yeah, I would say my impression, without actually going back and looking it over, was more that the stuff at the time more got upgrades as they went along, or quote unquote as the story needed it.
Yeah.
And whether those upgrades stuck and were carried forward, or whether it was just for that episode, is left to the writer. Whereas Gundam had a few of those leading up to around the midway point, and then the midway point got like a significant upgrade to the Gundam that did. Like it was a significant upgrade to the Gundam, but it didn't actually change it that much.
Oh, the magnetic coating.
Yeah, the magnetic coating stuff.
And I think the idea what they wanted to do back then was the G fighter.
Yeah, like for the first half-ish,
which was very blatantly,
maybe like the middle third of the series. Yeah, the big thing that they were trying to sell was that the Gundam, as some of you may know, is comprised of an upper part and a lower part, and the core fighter. What they were trying to sell as, hey, this is a cool thing that the Gundam can do, is you could replace the upper and lower part with the upper or lower part of the gun tank, and not the gun cannon, but parts of the gun tank. And some of them worked out, some of them didn't, and it was all weird.
Yep.
And then they basically had this as a thing for the middle third of the series, and then for the last third they just dropped it like a rock.
I think by that point they realized that people watching it were just kind of in it for the story rather than selling toys.
Something like that, probably. The original Gundam, if you sort of step back and think about how it was actually written and presented, it's a weird show, and it's strange how mecha shows evolved from that point.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a really good manga about a slightly over dramatized version of Tomino creating Gundam called Gundam Sosei, I think it's called.
I think I remember hearing about this.
It's really interesting. Again, it's an over dramatization, I'm sure, but the struggle of what he wanted to do versus the expectation of what a robot anime was back then. It's funny, because if you actually watch Gundam, it's got that weird kind of, schizophrenic drive to it, because where the story's like, here's war, but also here's this random war machine we're going to have every week, and you have to beat it in some wacky way.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely, it's not as Monster of the Week as shows of that era were, but like you can absolutely tell that a main thrust of what the what the Zeons were doing was effectively making Monster of the Week enemies.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely a thing in like the desert arc.
Yeah.
And
like
then also
the desert arc, the Jaburo stuff, and when they went back into space, there was a lot of it. Like when they finally introduced mobile armors as a thing, like they were super Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I think it's interesting to see how future Gundam stuff has worked off of the idea that Zeon was just producing a lot of random shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like looking at other stuff that's set in the 1 Year War, and seeing how like other parts of their forces were making a lot of random junk, and it still made sense because like, hey, this is the same army that decided that like fielding the Big Row was a good idea.
Well, yeah, they also... I mean, also it's kind of homaging, like, World War II, where, you know, less stuff actually got made, I'm sure, but you look at weird stuff they just threw at the drawing board. Like, that... I want to say it was Germany who made the, like, gigantic cannon attached to train lines? Or is that Russia?
Yes.
I think it was Germany, but I'm not a World War II historian, but...
I mean, Germany still made a lot of weird tanks.
Yeah. Or a lot of the plane designs that never got off the ground were weird. Was that there's a flight sim they made?
Yeah.
About
I remember the name of the expansion because it was the Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe. I can't remember who.
That's the game.
Was that the actual game? I thought it was
the actual game. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was good game. By the Secret Weapons Over Normandy was the sequel.
Okay.
Or the expansion, I forget which. But it's by Totally Games, who would later go on to do the X-Wing games.
Nice.
But yeah, it was. I think that's what they were going for, because let's face it, the Wonder War is basically World War II, just A, on a grander scale, and B, both sides are kind of crap.
Yeah.
And yet also neither side is really, like, ideologically as bad as Nazi Germany was. I mean, so to the average Zeon soldier, they are fighting for their independence. You can make arguments there are Zeon soldiers who want to kill everyone on Earth and make Space-Noid master race, but like the dudes we're looking
some
at
of some of the other stuff like absolutely had them. Like,
yeah,
I mean that was kind of a big thing in 0080.
Yeah, but like these guys here, they want independence for their homeland. Mm-hmm. That's
in the original series itself, they don't necessarily paint the Zeonic soldiers, like, other than a few major ones where they paint them a little bit more sympathetic. Like, a lot of the common soldiers are kind of painted with a broad brush.
Yeah.
And their leaders are absolutely like bad people in kind of a similar way.
But like this guy right here, he said he straight up didn't want to use like poison gas and stuff to commit genocide.
Yeah, like they've, in a lot of the side stuff, they have kind of walked back how like the army as a whole felt, in a way that makes me like kind of think that, hey, they kind of realize that a lot of the fans like Zeon.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe they shouldn't make them all be cartoon villains or worse.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure any allusions to Nazi imagery as far as, like, gear and stuff go, which I'm sure we'll get to that point in the story eventually.
Yeah.
Because One Year War Game does not have that bit. I'm sure they were completely intentional on the part of Tomino, who... I don't... Let me look up how old Tomino is, because I don't know if he, like... He's probably a child during World War II.
I want to say that I've seen like someone having done this math before, but yeah, I can't remember what the results were.
Yeah, he's born in 1941, so he himself probably doesn't have like vivid memories, but at least his parents would have.
But he would have remembered the aftermath.
Yeah, and definitely, the post-war society. Yeah, no, it's Go Nagai, who's I think is more directly.
Yeah, like, I remember some time ago having seen someone like do the analysis of like of Tomino's like history, his like when he was born, when he grew up, and compared it to his messages in his work.
Also, I'm actually totally wrong on that. Go Nagai is actually younger than Tomino. I know they're both like staunchly anti-war, just went about it in different ways.
So, kind of talking about the mission itself, the last little bit here has been about Major Gaddish here being a shitty person.
Yeah, that's why I was saying both sides are crappy.
In the actual, like, in Mobile Suit Gundam itself, probably about the only way you could have seen that the Earth Federation forces were, like, quote-unquote, also bad people were, like, the few bits where they acknowledged that everything about the White Base's mission was just a decoy.
Yeah.
Like, they don't actually, like, inside stuff, in later on stuff, they spell it out a little bit more that they actually kind of literally didn't care whether the White Base survived or not. They just wanted them to stall. But in Gundam itself, they painted it a lot more heroically on the side of the White Base. Or at the very least, like, they made it be kind of neutral on the side of the Earth Federation forces. Like,
yeah, and I wonder how much of that was like standards and practices at play of the time in Japan. Yeah,
I couldn't say.
Because, like, back then, the original Gundam, the main Federation authority figure was General Rebel, who's like generally totally unturned pun, but basically a pretty chill, well, not chill, but honorable man as far as military matters go. But then, like, later on when we get to the 8th MS team missions, we're going to see, like, the commander there who is just friggin', horrible person who does not care about anyone's lives.
Yeah. And, like, you definitely see that more in side story stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, it does come and go, but yeah, like, they... In extra material as they try to like flesh out the politics of it all. And like honestly, I think a lot of that was also because some of that was also a reaction to like when they started doing Zeta and later on stuff. Like they began painting the Earth Federation as a corrupt and decadent force. Like
and Zeta straight up the Earth Federation. Or a division of them are the bad guys.
Yeah. So like it is a hard shift from Mobile Suit Gundam, where the Earth Federation is like, hey, they're not necessarily bad, but they're not really competent. Mm-hmm. To hey, now we're in Zeta and these people are just villains. Like, so it makes like I could see it being a thing where as they started doing more side stuff, they wanted to close that loop a little more.
Yeah.
So right now, one of the gimmicks of this
stage...
You're
surrounded by mines!
Yeah, are these mines. The main thing about them is if you end your turn in the cardinal directions next to one, so up, down, left, or right, they will explode for about 3,000 years. But they also have, like, no hit points, so they kind of die easily. But also, and they actually kind of give decent XP.
Oh, hey, you have the fourth Gundam.
Yeah, I upgraded the Mudrock to fourth.
Which, we'll get to that story later, but...
Yeah. Encounters in Space is in this one.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a neat story.
Another only, like, 2 or 3 stage one, I think. But...
I think so. I'd have to pull up my chart. it's like a little bit longer in the like in actual encounters in space. The game encounters in space, it's a little bit longer than that. But yeah, I could see it being fairly short here. Like there's a lot of stuff that's unnecessary.
Yeah, I think the actual title is Space: The End of the Flash.
Yeah.
It's just like the Western fandom will mostly know it from the game Encounters in Space on the PS2.
So one thing that's I can say about this stage is it was kind of difficult because it had a lot of enemy units in it.
Yeah, because you're getting it from both sides of the base, right?
Not as much. Like the upper side is actually pretty much only Henry and his two people. So like, that itself could actually be a bit of a trap, because if you sent a bunch of people up there, once you take care of Henry, like then the enemy reinforcements all spawn from the bottom, and it takes me 2 or 3 turns just to move the Pixie and the who did I have it at that point? I had changed my master unit from the Phoenix to GP00. And like it took the two of them like 2 or 3 turns to get back into the fray after I had sent them up to take care of Henry and his partners.
Yeah. Also, was this stage or another one where like it shows you the mines, but also sometimes there's hidden ones where you can just randomly run into them?
There is in this one as well. I might have shown it in a brief clip, or it may not have showed up just yet. But I did put in a brief clip of me moving the GP00.
Yeah.
And a couple spawned. It's only
just to show off, right?
Yeah. They
like you knew they were there.
No.
Oh, you're supposed to play along with some kind of genius.
No, like they're not random. Like they're definitely in pre-positioned places. And as far as I could tell, it's only from the space from the base up to where Bork is fighting against the Wolfguard team. Yeah, so here I make sure to show off like every here's the mine blowing up. That mine was one of the ones that popped up. Okay, 2,500. Because it's a map weapon, it is fixed damage.
You go, Pixie.
Oh yeah, Pixie is pretty good.
It is. As we were talking about before the recording, they are doing a high-grade Universal Century kit of it, which I'm excited to get. Except it's one of the ones that you can only get from Bandai's website in Japan, which means getting it outside of Japan is going to cost you, paying someone from Japan to get it for you and then mail it to you.
Yeah.
So probably $50 for a $25 kit.
Like I spend in terms of kits, like $50 for me is one of the lower end master grades. Although like some of the more interesting master grades are more like 100, but considering the scale that I normally work at, like $50 for a high grade. Like I already don't like working on high grades. Spending $50 on a high grade is the cost benefit is completely out of the question.
Yeah.
Even if I
like, see if I can get it a little cheaper than that.
Even if I like the Pixie. And here goes. There's some more. Like there are so many enemy units on the stage. After this mission, I finally had enough money to buy the upgrade part that gives you a second hangar bay. And what I have in that hangar bay is not that great, but it is better than nothing.
That's true. It is the mighty number 9 of hangar bays.
But yeah, seriously though, having an extra bay so I have another 4 units that I can use, is a fairly significant upgrade, even if the units that I have in there are not necessarily like the greatest, but there's more things I can work with to cover more areas. So
yeah,
I'm definitely getting into, like, if playing this playing through this series in chronological order means I'm going to be running into some weird difficulty curves until we reach the end of the 1 year war. Once I get through the end of the 1 year war, like, it's pretty linear, so the paths are a lot more, like, it's still going to be like it gets difficult and then I start the next one and it's easy again, or relatively easy, I should say. But it's definitely going to be really, really variable until as I work through the rest of the 1 year war, because I'm just bouncing around series so much. Like, this mission, doing cross dimension as early as I am, relatively speaking, is probably not what I should be doing, but yeah, it's fine.
Also, Matt, I forgot how cool the gun GP00 looked.
Yeah, the GP00 looks really cool.
We should make a kit of that.
I think there was at one point, but I would absolutely love to get
probably a resin kit or something.
Yeah, maybe. I would absolutely get a Re 100 GP00.
Yeah. Spinning daggers.
Like, there are some, like, what they've been doing with the Re 100 line is real good. I don't think I mentioned it the last time we recorded, but I recently got and built a Re 100 gun cannon detector, which is like one of
probably
those,
something you could get in this game.
Probably, because it is like kind of a normal thing from Unicorn. Like, it's not like a weird. It's not a weird dive, but
I think it was an MSV kit or MSV design before that.
Yeah, but so was a lot of stuff in Unicorn. To be fair, like, Unicorn, Gundam Unicorn is weird in that it is like a lot of what it is. A lot of the units that are in it are like justifying the existence of a lot of old MSVs.
Yeah,
like,
it's continuity form for MSV fans, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And like, it's kind of like a basic kit. Like, it's not too simple. Like, it's interesting because, like, if you look at the gun cannon and how it's like very bulbous, like you can tell it's like very toyish. The gun cannon detector like really builds on that in a kind of an interesting way.
Yeah, it's weird because most other designs of that kind of stuff go the other way. It's like a lot of, especially like any version of the gun tank that's not the one from the original show.
Yeah,
tries to make it less goofy.
Yeah, like, I mean, we've already seen the assault gun tank, and like this game doesn't have it, which is a real shame. But the gun tank R44, like, it's still kind of a goofy looking one, but it's a lot more military.
You love that R44 thing, don't you?
The gun tank R44 is a ridiculous thing, and I love it so much.
You should put up a picture of it, like, somewhere, just so people could see it.
I might even just put up one of my pictures of the model kit I have of it, because, like, it is the tiniest 1:100 scale model kit I have. It is so ridiculous. Like, I have one picture which is, I want to say it is the gun tank R44, the Master Grade DO, the Master Grade F91, and I think one of my Master Grade RX-78s, all posing together, and the R44 just looks like an action figure next to them. And like, you see that and you think about how silly it is, and then you realize that the R44 is designed to be piloted by 4 people. It is a weird design, and I just think it looks really cool. Honestly, now that I'm like better at building model kits, I should probably take the R44 out and like just do a little bit of like paintwork or like redesign work on it, just to touch it up some, because like the R44 was already an old kit when I got it in the first place. It has only been like I got it 15-ish years ago. Yeah, like just out of nowhere, they get ganked by like Henry. Like literally runs this like. This would have been like 2 or 3 kilometers. Yeah, like he teleported to the other end of the battlefield, ganked his 2 buddies, and now wants to fight some more. This is like it's, and then of course, here's some more reinforcements.
Yeah. It's like, I don't need no friendly units.
Also, like both of those motherships have some Zaku's in them as well. So like, there's a lot of enemy units here. This mission was absolutely a lot of me like popping in and out of my ship to recover my energy, because I was running dry pretty constantly. And like part of it was definitely that I used probably weaker units than I should have if I'd gotten to this point. And like that's like kind of the way that these style of G-Gen games play. Like,
yeah,
I
conversely had an easy time because I was packing like a unicorn Gundam and stuff.
Yeah,
and
like,
a double Zeta.
Some of these, like the difficulty of a lot of these missions is absolutely going to depend on the order that you play through. And playing through these missions in chronological is definitely going to have some weird difficulty spikes. But like I said, like after this mission, I went and finally bought the extra hangar bay for my carry base, and that will make my unit evolutions slower, because that means I have a lot more units on the field. But it should also make these missions a lot easier because I have more units on the field. And I did mention this last time, but the secret unit for this mission is the Ifrit Nox, which is like basically a ninja Ifrit.
Yep, but it's got friggin' kunais attached to its body.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they decided that only the squad leader was going to be the Ifrit Nox, and the other 2 were going to be Desert Zaku's. So
which means you can't get it.
I couldn't capture one, but that's fine. Like I will get one. I'm positive that it evolves from an Ifrit, so I would just need to get to an Ifrit, which is probably like transfer probably goes to an Ifrit. I
think a Goof goes to an Ifrit.
A Goof would probably go to an Ifrit as well. I'm also pretty sure a Camphor does as well, but yeah, I could see a Goof going to an Ifrit as well.
So I'm trying to remember if Ifrit Nox is the one from Battlefield Record or not.
I think it is.
There's Ifrit Nox, Ifrit Schneid. The one's from Battlefield Record, the other one's from this one.
I want to say Noct is from Battlefield Record, but yeah, maybe I could be wrong on that one. What should also be an easy-ish way of getting to an Ifrit should be, I don't know which GM it would be, but like one of the GMs should go to Blue Destiny 1. And Blue Destiny 1 should go.
GM ground type probably goes to Blue Destiny 1.
Yeah. Although like amusingly, like that's probably what it is, but hilariously, Blue Destiny 1 is actually a Gundam. It is GM head from 08 MST.
Yeah.
Like all 3 of the Blue Destiny units are actually direct Gundam ground types.
So like Ifrit Nox from Battlefield Record, Ifrit Schneid's from this one.
Okay, that's what I thought. Actually, yeah, maybe it's ground Gundam that would go to BD1 then. But I would expect, like, even though officially BD1 is actually a ground Gundam, everyone expects it to be a GM, so I could see it coming from a GM.
Yeah. G-Generation is odd sometimes about the evolution trees.
Yeah, like sometimes it is like very like canon about how they progress, and sometimes it's more like, yeah, these things are kind of similar, or like these are the things that people would expect it to go. Like, kind of as a good example, in G Generation World and Overworld, one of the ways that you can get Destroy Gundam is through Big Zam. Which like makes sense because it's kind of a Big Zam. I think you can get to... Oh god, like... You could get to it from one of the Seed Gundams too, right?
Probably. Probably Calamity.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I don't know. I don't remember because I never really... I think, like, I probably went down that tech tree, but I don't think I ever used one.
I did eventually get a Destroy Gundam because in my playthrough I was also maining Ko, and Ko was broken in mobile armors, and Destroy Gundam was one of the best all-terrain mobile armors you could get. Like, there were better mobile armors in the game. Like, straight up there were better mobile armors, but until late post-game you couldn't get the adapter that would let you use these all-terrain. So... Like, yeah, I could have put him in a Deep Striker, or I could have put him in a Dendrobium, or I could have put him in the thing that we haven't seen yet, but is at like the end of MS Igloo. But those are only usable in space, and there's still a lot of ground missions, so a Destroy Gundam just works better. And like,
yeah,
God, he is like broken in those. Oh my goodness.
I mean, someone has to find Ko useful at some point in his life, I guess.
There are a lot of units, a lot of pilots that I want to get, like for my team that, like, I'm just not going to get until like fairly later on, and that makes me a little sad. Like my favorite,
Bernie.
Like, yeah, Bernie is like. I don't get Bernie until literally. Yeah, I don't get Bernie until literally we are finished the 1 year war, which is halfway through the game. Which is like a shame, but I don't think I'll get Yu Kajima for a while. I have to look up what the requirements for him would be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like get Blue Destiny 2 or Blue Destiny 3, because Blue Destiny 2 is Nemesis.
So there's an easy guide on the internet.
Probably not, but like I know he is one of the mission unlocked ones. I'm pretty sure. So I would need to. I can find it. I can just look back. Like the next time I boot up the game, I can take a look. But I think he's still a ways off.
Yeah, I can't really. Not seeing one, but.
I don't know how good he is in Genesis, especially since Genesis kind of. Like, it is a lot more conservative on the way skills work compared to like World and Overworld. Like World and Overworld did a lot of interesting things and made a lot of like very unique pilot abilities that gave certain pilots like very specific niches in how they worked, or like they basically like characters had specs, and it was very, like, you would choose the ones that you would want to use based on what sort of builds you wanted in your team, and it was like really, really interesting. And there were a bunch of characters that had alternate versions as well that were interesting because they changed what that character's spec was. Like there was the regular Katra from Wing, and he was just kind of like a very basic support style pilot, like melee focused, had some like team benefit skills. But there was also a version you could unlock that was Katra when he was using the Zero system.
Crazy Katra.
Yeah, and he had the Berserker morale gauge, which is like almost all super critical. And like, he had a bunch of skills that were like, hey, if this pilot is by himself, you get huge bonuses. Which was like an interesting twist on the character. But yeah, it was just like, I liked that they did that in World and Overworld. Like it gave characters niches, which made up for it having like so many of them. Like there were so many characters that you could get, and there were a lot of characters that you could get as pilots that were just not pilots, because like they were like supporters. They were like the people that you'd have as like the morale boosters on the ship or whatever. And
also, he got rescued.
We think like I don't think like they actually leave Bork's fate fairly vague here. Like I'm sure it's actually laid out pretty cleanly, probably where he came from, but
so there apparently at the end of the original game there are two endings. He either goes on to aid in defense of Solomon, then disappear. Or sorry, if you lose, basically at the end of the game, if you lose your fight against Boone, Boone goes on to fight in defense of Solomon and disappear. So assumably, Bork dies.
Okay.
They win. Bork finds Saki, the girl, and they basically limp off together toward the base. So presumably they both live.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Also,
right, yeah.
amusingly enough, he was voiced by the same actor who did Lasse from Gundam 00.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of voice actor overwork. But that's Cross Dimension done.
Yep, that's the end of Cross Dimension.
Look forward to our Let's Play of Cross Dimension 0079 for the Super Famicom, coming never.
Yeah, I'm probably never going to get to that. So the next mission I should be getting into is, in fact, the first episode of Missing Link.
Woo!
So look forward. I am actually kind of looking forward to that because there are a number of units.
I really like Missing Link.
There are a number of units in Missing Link that are pretty cool. I don't know how many of them I'm going to be able to get from the first mission.
So you can't get the Pale Rider till way later.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Like when
you have to jump through hoops to get the Pale Rider.
Like the next episode of Missing Link is like 8 missions later.
Yeah, because Missing Link literally it's this side story that ties together a bunch of other side stories. So basically it's tying together Cross Dimension, because I think that episode of Missing Link literally happens during this, but it's tying together Cross Dimension, Blue Destiny, Lost War Chronicles, and one of the others, I forget which. It's not the Dreamcast one. I'm not Googling this at all, I promise.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm just going to comment the series that has the longest in terms of chronological space between the start and the end is actually not Mobile Suit Gundam, but is Lost War Chronicles.
Oh.
Lost War Chronicles is the 6th mission chronologically, and it is literally the last mission of the 1 Year War.
Oh, okay. I would figure it would have been Igloo.
No, Igloo
Because I know it
ends.
starts before the 1 Year War and ends at
Yeah,
the end of the 1 Year War.
the last episode of Igloo, or at least the version of Igloo which is covered by this, ends at Abaoaku.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like, yeah, looking at the chart that I've got here, like it's there are some guesses based on like actual chronological, because I think it may be saying that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 6 missions are happening during Abaoaku. But yeah, based on the order
Oh,
that we have here, Lost War Chronicles is the last mission of the 1 Year War. Then it goes
okay.
right from there into Battlefield Record.
So actually, so basically, Side Stories is Missing Link is from a game called Gundam Side Stories, which kind of redid a bunch of the other games. So it was Blue Destiny, Space: The End of a Flash, Rise from the Ashes, which is the Dreamcast one, Zeonic Front, Encounters in Space, Lost War Chronicles, and Cross Dimension. Kind of, you know, tying those together a little bit at least.
Okay.
I've never played that game. I should probably pick it up sometime. I don't know how the actual gameplay is, but it's a neat idea, and also I'm assuming it's probably really cheap nowadays because most Gundam games do not get very expensive on the aftermarket.
But yeah, so next time we're going to see Missing Link. So look forward to that.
Woo!
Yeah, I need to look in to see what units I can possibly get there. Although I'll probably be actually doing the recording of that stage pretty soon.
Yeah, I actually very much like Missing Link.
I like some of the stuff from Missing Link. Yeah, like the Pale Rider is pretty cool. Did they officially have GM Striker be that or Battlefield Record? I want to say
GM Striker?
Yeah, I want to say it's probably Battlefield Record, actually.
I thought GM Striker was from that launch PS3 game.
It was, but they tied it. What did they tie it to? Maybe it is just Battlefield Record then. GM Striker is really cool. I can't remember if it's in the game, but I'm pretty sure it is.
It is. Bonds of the Battlefield.
Okay.
Which is a arcade game? It was apparently ported to the PSP because, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's in the game. Anyway,
yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen its highlight while I've been going through some of the other GMs.
Yeah,
or maybe I already I don't think I've already leveled to GM Striker, but I'm pretty sure I've seen its silhouette. But anyway, yeah. So next time we'll see Missing Link, and we'll carry on from there. So
bye everybody.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time.